Out of Superman and Fantastic Four, which one needs to do well in box office? It's Superman.
No, Fantastic Four. If the Fantastic Four doesn't do well, Marvel is also probably dead.
Yeah, but at least they have, like, stuff. Like, DC... If this one goes bad, and no one's going to think twice about DC. But if this movie's good, then people will start getting excited about it again. But if Marvel, I mean, it'll be the same thing it's been for the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, people still watch Marvel movies, even if they're, like, mid. Like,
I mean, that's true.
But still get seats.
Because they proved how good they can be, so people still follow.
So if Superman sucks, no one's going to go watch the next DC movie.
That is true.
But if Fantastic Four sucks, people will still go watch it.
So the entire future of DC is riding on the shoulders of this film.
Yes. Pretty much is.
Yeah. I have zero expectations for this movie. Absolutely zero.
I think it's going to be.
It's one of really good. This movie and the Fantastic Four movie are the two like most anticipated movies of the entire summer. So I feel like we have to talk about both of them.
Yeah, but I'm more excited for Fantastic Four. Like I went into F1 expecting it to be at minimum a 4-star, and it absolutely was. I am going into Superman expecting a 0. So my expectations are just 0. Like I have no like I'm not saying I'm going into it. I'm not saying I'm going into it expecting it's going to be like a god awful movie. I'm just saying that I'm going into it with no expectations.
But you don't think it's going to be good?
I don't think it's going to be great. If you asked me right now, you're like, dude, how good do you think that movie's going to be? I'm going to say, I don't think it's going to be that great.
I'm with you on
But
this
like, my
one.
expectations aren't like, I'm not like, dude, this movie's going to be good, and I'm not like, this movie's going to be genuinely awful. Like, I'm just like, I don't really have anything. But if I had to tell you, I don't think it's going to be that great.
I'm with you.
I think it's going to be very, very good.
It's good.
It's a DC movie, so you know that's going to be bad.
Yeah, but you
can't
have to throw that out the window.
This DC movie to the
Can you?
You can't. It's a whole new universe.
It's drastically different.
But can you throw it out the window with what DC has done to the American citizens' eyeballs over the last like
new
10 years?
James Gunn got full creative.
It's a completely new thing.
I don't really care who. Like I don't
care.
know. I don't know if I can excuse what DC has done to the Americans' eyes for the last 10 years.
Superman is terrible, I will be on your side.
Okay. Oh yeah, then they're screwed.
Yeah, then the DCU is cut.
I don't think it's going to be terrible though. I don't think it's going to be good either. I think that movie is going to be if I had to guess, my ceiling for that movie is an average superhero movie. I think in my opinion, my ceiling for that movie would be around the same feelings that I had for Thunderbolts. That was a very, in my opinion...
If Superman comes out and is as good as Thunderbolts, I'm okay with that.
Okay, but everybody... all of you guys were way higher on Thunderbolts. For my...
What did you rate that movie?
Thunderbolts, I gave it, I think, 3. Or 3.5, maybe. I thought Thunderbolts was a extremely average like superhero movie. And I think that is Superman's ceiling. Extremely average, I think, is the ceiling for this movie.
I don't think that's the ceiling. I think the ceiling is...
What? I think the ceiling is the best DC movie ever. Outside of, like, the Dark Knight trilogy, obviously.
That doesn't...
Okay,
yeah.
Nothing's touching that. It's not going to be better than the Batman, either.
That doesn't count either.
Yeah, Batman's completely separate.
Okay. So if we're saying the best DC movie of all time, if all you're talking about is the DCU, then that is the easiest bar to cross in the history of bars ever crossed.
Like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in that regard.
The DC universe is the worst films I've ever seen.
There's 3 movies that I think were pretty good out of that.
I wouldn't even say pretty good. I would say there were 3 movies.
Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, and first Aquaman.
Agreed.
I enjoyed all 3 of those movies.
I think I'm gonna do Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I don't think the first Aquaman. I don't think Man of Steel was that insane.
I thought Man of Steel was solid, but Aquaman was like
First Aquaman.
I was like, all right, like this movie's
the second one
solid.
Was atrocious, but the first
because they didn't care.
Yeah.
I just didn't care at all.
Like the DC universe, like the only thing that rivals the DC universe in terms of just sheer horribleness is Sony's Spider-Verse. Like, that's the level that it's on.
Did you see that they announced they're not doing any more Spider-Man spin-off movies?
Thank goodness.
They finally got a hint.
Maybe they should release Morbius in theaters again.
They need to give all the rights for Spider-Man completely over to the MCU and just never look back. Actually, Sony should stop making movies.
Yeah.
But if you are telling me that the bar that Superman needs to cross is the DCU, then I would say yes, it's going to cross that. Because that means at minimum, all it has to be is a 1.5 star movie.
But I just think you can't go into the movie thinking of it cynically because the rest of the DC movies sucked.
I'm going into it thinking
you can't be like, this
movie.
movie's probably going to be bad because it's a DC movie.
That is what Alex is doing.
Because
I'm going into this movie thinking nothing. I'm going into this movie just show me what you got.
Yeah.
And if I'm
what
impressed,
you got.
if I'm impressed, then I'm like, all right, maybe they've got something. If I'm not impressed, then I'm like, all right, that was not good, and DC should stop. DC should cease.
DC. I don't think DC will ever cease. They're too popular.
DC should cease to exist outside of Batman.
They'll just always be ridiculously inferior to Marvel. Even though Marvel's catching up.
I don't even think that you can put them in the same realm of existence because
Marvel's
DC is
the past 5 years of the MCU haven't been anything.
The past 5 years
Marvel's
of the
not
MCU,
helping their case.
Yeah.
The past 5 years of the MCU is
But the peak of Marvel is better than anything DC will ever do.
Yes.
the lowest point of Marvel is better than any DC crap.
Yeah. But I mean, the two biggest comic book series are Marvel and DC. That's the only thing.
I know. I'm just saying that the worst MCU movie,
but
unanimously, is probably considered Eternals, and I think Eternals is better than any DC film.
I don't know if I'd agree.
It's not
with
better
that.
than Wonder Woman.
No.
I haven't seen Wonder Woman, but I would probably say
That movie's
Eternals
actually
is probably
really
better.
good.
Wonder Woman 1984 is an abomination. No.
Horrible. One of the
Terrible
worst movies I've ever
movie.
seen in theaters.
I can you blame me? Could you blame me for going in?
I'm
when I see a DC film is coming out, can you blame me for my first thought being this is horse crap?
This is probably going to be terrible.
Because of what they've done over the last 10
No.
years. Can you blame me?
No, but I just feel like you can't have a closed off view coming into this movie.
It's not closed off. My
It's
view,
pretty closed
Like
off.
you can't
It's
walk in and
not
be like,
closed
I'm
off.
expecting this movie to suck. It's going to suck no matter what happens.
No, that's what you. No. That's what you did with Craven, and that's what you're doing with
because
Jurassic
it
World.
sucked.
But you didn't
Craven's
know
terrible.
that. You didn't know that for sure, though. All you
I
did
didn't
was
think
see the
I
reviews,
didn't go
and
in
you made
say
your decision
Craven was
off
gonna
that.
Suck. I just said that
Yes,
people
you
said
did.
it wasn't good,
I would have.
and I was
would've
correct.
said
It was
Craven.
not
Okay, yes,
good.
you were correct. It was not good, but you went into that movie already decided it's going to suck.
Yeah, because that's
what everyone was saying, that
Yeah.
the movie sucked.
But you got to decide for yourself.
Well,
though.
it was
And
like-
you
it's
already
like-
decided before you even saw the movie, and you're doing the same thing with Jurassic
No,
World.
I
too, though.
saw the one woman say, my grandma died, and then I never
But you
saw
didn't
her
see
again,
that
and
before
then
we saw the
decided it was
movie,
terrible.
though. Yes, after the movie was over,
I saw
it was
the
bad.
Rhino CGI and was like, yeah, this movie is awful.
Okay, all right, then fine. A better example would maybe be Jurassic World, because you are going into that movie saying this is going to suck, and you haven't even seen it.
Yeah, but the thing that's different is DC ended everything that they did previously and completely gave it to somebody else
Yeah.
and turned it on its head.
They did a full reset.
So if
they rebooted the entire
if
system.
Sony would have gotten like Kevin Feige to start directing films and then he came out with one, I would think differently about it. But if it was the same, if DC never brought in James Gunn, I would think the Superman movie would probably suck. But because James Gunn is in, and it's a whole
So
new
your
thing.
only hope is just the guy that did the Guardians movies.
yes,
Yes,
because he's
because
done.
the Guardians movies are good.
They're
Yeah,
all
they
good.
are good, but I'm
They're probably arguably the
DC
best superhero trilogy
No.
from the MCU.
no. But DC is
It's
so
it's close.
Like DC is so bad that I don't know if it's able to be saved by him. Dude, to be truthfully honest with you, the only man in Hollywood that could save DC from the depths of death that they are in is Christopher Nolan, probably.
He's not the only good director of all time.
No, but he's the only one that could save DC from their levels of
Maybe
awfulness.
Villeneuve could do it justice as well.
Yeah, he's
Who?
the guy who
Dude
did
made
Dunes.
Dune and
Oh.
a few other movies.
Yeah.
Well, he's
that
going to
would
be working
fair.
on James Bond. So
Yeah.
All right, that's probably fair. He
Yeah.
could probably do it too. But
I'm
outside,
very excited for those movies.
there's
now.
a very limited number of people that could save the DC universe, and I'm not sure that James Gunn is on that list.
and I'm one of them.
I think James Gunn is the person that's going to do it. I think he's going to be good.
I have faith in James Gunn.
He's going to have to prove it because these movies sucked.
They're making a Green Lantern movie. They already said who was going to be in it, I think.
Who is it?
Let me look.
And then they're making a Batman movie, but they haven't decided about that.
A Batman movie?
Yeah, they're making a Batman movie, but they haven't
the
heard anything
DCU?
about that. Yeah. Look it up.
So...
It's a TV show.
No. Oh, it might be a TV show. Whatever. It's the
It's a
same.
TV
At this
show.
point, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The Flash was not the same thing.
TV shows nowadays are an hour long anyway. This guy is going to be Hal Jordan. This guy's going to be Jon Stewart, which I like. The rest of the people I don't really know. Nathan Fillion, he's going to be in Superman.
He's in the movie.
Yeah. So I think it has potential. The Green Lantern is one of my favorite DC characters. I think
Look up the Batman one.
I think
now.
he's pretty sick.
Oh, speaking of Batman, though, the Batman Part 2 script is finally done.
Yes,
Thank goodness.
Thank God.
They're not screwing us over
Finally,
anymore.
some positive news about the Batman Part 2.
That's the
I
only
don't
DC
think
movie.
I don't think there's a confirmed.
All right, look up Batman: The Brave and the Bold. That's what I've seen. It's gonna be called.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I don't. Is that actually happening?
I thought it was. They're making a. They have to make a Batman for the DCU. They have to.
Yeah, it says the Brave and the Bold.
Okay,
Set in James Gunn's completely new DCU, continually will focus on a new interaction of Batman and his son Damian Wayne. Also, speaking of Batman, biggest fumble that Warner Brothers has ever done in the history of their studio is not green light the Batman Beyond film with the guys who directed Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, that would have been sweet.
Absolute morons.
That would have been pretty cool.
That movie would have been so freaking good, and they said no.
That would have been sweet. But
Did you see the concept art for that? Dude, it was sick.
It's sick. It's
but yeah,
sick.
I don't know how you saw that and was like, nope, we're not putting that.
Yeah. No, we're not. We don't want this.
But yeah, like if they were not going to have a Batman in the DCU, then I wouldn't watch it. Because Batman, in my opinion, is the best DC character, and so if he wasn't going to be in it, like Batman and Superman are the cornerstone DC characters.
Absolutely.
If you are making a DC universe and you are not
Have to
including
have
one of
those
those two,
then.
it's
Yeah.
like it's screwed from the start.
Absolutely.
It would be like the MC. It would be like Marvel not including Captain America
Or Iron Man.
or Iron Man.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
the,
it's
that's
not
the
gonna happen.
struggle that James Gunn was talking about in an interview I saw recently. Because Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves, they said that their Batman's not going to have any correlation.
Which I think is probably safe because that Batman is really good,
Yeah.
and the DCU might be literal vomit.
Yeah,
so
but
like,
the
it's
thing
probably
that
good to
the
keep
thing
them
that
separate.
makes it kind of weird is so you're going to have the Batman 2 come out, which is a completely different Batman. Then a year later or whatever, you're going to have this movie come out, which is another Batman but from a different universe. So you have two Batmans playing at the same time.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that everybody knows it's distinguished. You know?
Yeah, but
But
that's
is everyone
just
going to know it's distinguished?
it's just hard. I mean,
I mean,
it would be like if yeah, I don't know. It's just I mean, it's probably
like
tough.
if they released the Flash during when the Flash TV series was going on.
I just feel like it's.
But I do agree, you have to have Batman in the DCU. But it's just interesting
but
how
I think
they already
that-
have one established and they're not using
But
it.
I think it's safer that way because the Robert Pattinson one is so good.
I
and
agree.
DCU could be horrible.
I agree, but as a
You know?
if I'm James Gunn as a head of everything, I'm thinking, all right, how do I pull this off? Because we already have a Batman that everybody loves, and I need a Batman, but he's not going to be in it. So how do I make this Batman distinguishable from that Batman and also
Yeah.
entertaining? That isn't like, that isn't the Fat Man. So
Yeah.
so I mean, I think it'll be interesting. I think the
Do you
Brave and
think
the
that
Bold.
they should give him his cartoonish gray costume with blue underwear?
No,
and the blue mask?
I think they should 100% have Robin as a huge part in that movie.
and the one they're coming out with? Why?
Not the second, not the Batman too, like this one.
No, yeah.
Because
Batman needs to be the main character.
well, obviously he's going to be the main character, but we haven't had a Batman movie since the 70s Batman that has
Had Robin in it. Yeah.
And I think Robin is a sweet character
yeah,
because
Robin should be in
you
it.
go
but I think
you go down
Batman
the
needs
arc
to
of
still
Rob
be-
Dick becomes Nightwing, and then he gets Jason Todd, and Jason Todd gets captured by Joker, becomes Red Hood, and then that's a whole trilogy in itself. And I think that's a sick arc of characters
To go down.
And no one's talked about that or discovered or done anything for that in movies. So I think they should.
I haven't heard of any of those characters.
So Dick Grayson.
That's
was
not true.
the
I've heard of some of them.
original
I knew
Robin,
him.
and then he became Nightwing.
I knew that, but
And then
after everything you said after that, I was like, okay.
And then the Robin after Dick Grayson was Jason Todd. And then Jason Todd got captured by Joker and tortured for like a year.
Yeah.
And then became the assassin vigilante known as Red Hood.
Okay.
Who is a villain to Batman. And then they fight, and then Red Hood says...
How old is Batman? How many Robins has he had?
A lot.
Is he just not
He had
aged?
3, right?
Yeah.
Because it was Dick, Jason, and then his son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Does he just not age?
I mean, he's Batman.
Does what he wants.
But when he had it, when it got to the third Robin, he was old. He was pretty old. But Jason Todd becomes like a big part in the Batman, and then the big twist is that he tells Batman that he's Jason because Batman thought he was dead.
Oh, okay.
But he wasn't because he got like. That's a big part in those Arkham games. Jason Todd is a huge part.
Ah, those are the games John used to play.
Yeah. But I think that arc is really cool. I think they should talk about that. Because I think, because if you come in with another Batman movie, there's only so many ways I think you can do Batman, and I think they've already been done. So you need to do something to kind of make that Batman separate from the Christian Bale Batman, from the...
I enjoy the Christian Bale.
No,
Batman,
I like...
Batman.
No,
So
I love...
I would be fine if they put a Batman out and it was the exact same thing just in that universe.
I love...
I'd be fine with that.
I love both of those, but I think... I just think you might want to change some things up. Because there's so many things you can do with Batman. Expand.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But, yeah, we got way off.
Expectations are 0% here, so.
That's fair.